Hi, my name is Gibson. I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about anxious preoccupied attachment style individuals and burnout. So, this is based off of a conversation I was having earlier today with somebody, and we were talking basically a little bit about the idea of burnout and how it affects different people. And really, what I started thinking is, wow, this affects different attachment styles very differently as well. And I think it's important to address. So, what I want us to first recognize is that sort of a relationship to burnout, or a relationship to, if you could think of it as like a lack of time to do the things you want, and a lack of time that you have that then leads you to feeling depleted. Well, what this is about is not time itself, right? It's not just, feeling like there's a lack of actual time, because time is neutral. And it's what we're using time for that our needs are not being met within that's really the problem. So, for example, the analogy I'll use is like if you had 12 days in the week instead of 7 days in the week, but 12 days of the week you have to do things that you hate, you're not going to be very happy. You don't want the extra time. You'd rather go for the 7 days of the week where at least you can do some of the things you love. So it's not the amount of time we have, it's what we're using the time for, which is actually a representation of our needs being met or not being met. And so when anxious, preoccupied individuals are struggling with burnout, it's usually because of some patterns that exist within time and some unmet needs that are taking place on a pervasive level that then lead to feelings of exhaustion, of not being replenished, recharged, and eventually leading to burnout. So, what are these patterns? Well, first and foremost, anxious preoccupied are usually huge people pleasers. People pleasing in and of itself is a subconscious strategy to avoid their massive, fear of abandonment. And so a lot of the anxious preoccupied personality actually sort of revolves around trying to avoid abandonment at all costs, and that often leads to things like ruminating all the time about social and relationship interactions, spending a lot of time focused on what they should be that will make them more likable, that will get them connected, that will make them more lovable. And so all of these patterns that are very much at the forefront of the anxious preoccupied thought processes and focus throughout the course of the day are all things that are taking away from their selves. They're all things that are not about like, hey, how am I feeling? What am I needing? What buckets do I need to fill in my life in terms of my needs to feel fulfilled? Do I need more personal growth time? Do I need more comfort? Do I need to tend to my work goals a little bit more in my career growth? It's not about like your needs as the individual. It's about, what does so and so expect from me? What does my boss expect from me? What does my friend expect from me? What does this family member expect from me? And the cycle goes on and on. And so, just in the natural state of that, there's the absence of you taking yourself into consideration and checking in on how you feel, checking in with what you need, which can lead to these sort of chronic and pervasive states of feeling burnt out from the world, from life. And there's also this self abandonment cycle that often comes into play too, right? Where it's like, oh my goodness, somebody's upset with me, and I am going to do whatever I have to do to end that problem and to be accepted again. And while that's a beautiful quality in so many cases, if that encases within it the absence of you being able to share what your boundary is in a situation, share what your need is, receive that need from others, then you're often going to be in this space of having your relationships deplete you, even if you don't realize it. And part of the reason this is sometimes difficult for the anxious preoccupied to realize is because the need to avoid abandonment outweighs and overpowers the need to receive from others. And so that will be the main focus. The subconscious mind, and in fact, can trigger us going into sympathetic nervous system mode, will be so focused on avoiding the abandonment piece that all the other things that are actually sitting there still, you not taking yourself into consideration, you not feeling like your needs are met from other people at times, you not feeling like your boundaries are respected sometimes you may not even notice those things until you've actually worked to reprogram that fear of abandonment. And only then will you be able to see, oh my gosh, I have all these things happening here where I'm out of relationship to self. And that can lead to a lot of pressure you're putting on yourself in all areas of life and all of your relationships, be it family relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, in your workplace, in trying to seek out approval from your boss, from your loved one, or not your loved ones, your coworkers, which could also be your people you love. But all that can create this sort of chronic and pervasive pressure that is being put on yourself. And then the other part of anxious, preoccupied, and burnout is, if anxious, preoccupied individuals are also telling narratives all the time, like throughout the day, like, oh, this person's going to be upset with me. That person's going to be upset with me. I didn't do enough here. I should have done more there. That triggered state emotionally about fearing abandonment and being distressed will also put you in the state of like hypervigilance, you know, just ongoing worry and distress, which will keep you in sympathetic nervous system mode and also create a lot of anxiety responses at different times. And last but not least, well, I'll say two more things. Second last but not least, if you are also living out of alignment with yourself and with your own personality needs, that can feel very defeating. If you want to do a deeper dive into a lot of this stuff and really like change burnout, you want to do a deep dive into like the boundaries course inside PDS. You want to do a deep dive into the personal needs course. You understand who you are and you can like really understand your sense of self-identity and be able to consider yourself and be able to communicate and share what your needs are from others and receive them. And then the very last piece here is sometimes anxious, preoccupied as well, because they can be so focused on abandonment, can stop sort of reflecting on and allowing themselves to have boundaries. Like sometimes you will violate your own boundaries because, again, you'd rather violate your own boundaries and avoid abandonment than deal with the pain of abandonment. And so sometimes you'll put up with things that you shouldn't in relationships that can also create a lot of exhaustion, whether it be people violating your boundaries, whether it be people treating you unfairly. And so it's really important to recognize those things as well. So like I said, you want to do a deeper dive, personality needs course inside PDS. We'll put a link to all these things in the description box below, like for our course page. So you can go see all the different courses. And you can get the all access membership pass and you can just dive in and do a bunch of courses at the same time. Boundaries course, discover, embrace, and fulfill your personal needs course, and even the codependency and enmeshment course are all really fantastic for helping reprogram and shift out of burnout patterns. So hopefully this makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.